to grow ahead. It has been a couple of weeks, and we really apologize that we haven't had anything. Ultimately, it's my fault. Due to COVID, I had to close down one of our businesses, and that was a lot of work. I didn't realize how much goes into physically, permanently, like moving out of a business space. I mean, like I've moved homes and whatever, but I guess I just didn't realize like how much work I had ahead of me. But we are back, and we plan on being very regular with you guys so that we don't keep missing time with you. And then of course last week was Easter, so we hope you all had a great Easter. Today, just to lighten it up, because like I said, things have been just kind of crazy, we're going to do some fun stuff. We've had some people ask us some questions, like just to get to know us personally a little bit. We've kind of come up with a couple, like just to have fun with it. And yeah, so I guess this is your get to know us a tiny bit more, not on anything heavy, because again, some of our topics are pretty heavy because we like to hit you hard with things that make you think. So do you have some of the questions that we actually like didn't come up with ourselves? Like we can start however you want.
Sure. I know one question that, people have asked is like how old we are, because I know in episodes we talk about different things or joke around, and yeah, people have asked that.
How dare you ask how old women are? No, I'm just kidding. I totally don't care. So I am, I'm 40, I'll be 41 in July. So my 40th birthday was during COVID when I couldn't do anything fun. So there's that.
It felt so bad when you were going through that too, because you look forward to it and like you're all excited, and it's a big deal.
Well, I think it's funny because most people, sorry, my glasses are like glaring in some way. Most people actually don't like getting older, and so they like avoid their birthdays and whatever. I totally embrace it. I actually tell people I'm older than I am because, okay, so lots of people are like, no, I'm still 30. And I'm like, oh, you don't look good for 30. But if you're like, I'm 57, people are like, you look fantastic for 57. So really, I'm as old as you want me to be.
Yeah. And I just turned 25 like a week or two ago. Yeah. And that's crazy to me just because I don't know. It's that weird age between 20 and 30. You're just in the middle. It's weird.
Yeah, it's one of those ages where people still consider you young,
Yeah.
but yet you're not, like, it's not like you haven't experienced some life sort of thing. Yeah, it's always one of those hard ages, I think. And especially there are some people who experience way more life than others by that age. So
Right. It is just weird because like my personality even like and sometimes when people talk to me, they're like, wow, you're only however old. You seem so much older, or like just weird things like that.
you are kind of an old soul. I think that's why you and I get along so well.
Like I honestly like stuff that like I feel like nobody else likes, like even quotes and different things. And like I still have this is when I was 16. Like everybody else, would meet up for lunch or do different things, and I'd be in the library every day, and I'd just be, writing down, I don't know, just different things like my own poems or different things, and then I'd write down quotes I thought were cool. And like I literally have two full notebooks of just different notes and like quotes and different things that are about life, and I don't know, it just got me through life.
That's awesome. You'll have to like that can some of that can be some of our like inspiration. We can just kind of plug it in daily, see what you clicked with.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So, and then, you didn't do it. I mean, granted, it did something for you, but you didn't do something that you can't share with the whole entire world. So we'll have to have like a little section like clips from Stephanie's notebook.
And it's crazy though, like just how you look at stuff like that, even and like everyone else's like meeting up for a club or, in the cafeteria, here's Steph with their two full notebooks of just, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I'm not going to tell you what I did on my lunch. Nobody needs to know that. Okay. What else do we got on that list from people?
Another good one was what or who inspires you most?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, okay, so this is going to sound really weird, but um, honestly, like our kids, I think, inspire me the most. They're young and still that like where they see the world through like these rose-colored glasses, like where everything is like still nice and whatever. Like anyone who pays attention to anything I do, like outside of Girlhead, I am a huge like advocate for anti-human trafficking, and so like I read horrible things that happen in the world, and so it's really really nice when I have conversations with the kids who they're like, Mom, that stuff doesn't really happen, like like it does, and so they inspire me to keep that like fresh outlook on life. Of course, Chad's a huge inspiration to me. Um, he's really great at playing devil's advocate every time I have an opinion on something, and so he keeps me on my toes. But yeah, I would have to definitely say those who like those people are my biggest inspiration for sure.
I was waiting for Simon Sinek to come up.
Simon Sinek is a very huge one, but like it's one of those things I feel like lots of people, whatever. I mean, he is a huge, I read and listen to him all the time, but um, a little bit closer to my heart, like, I think I listen to him because of, the kids and stuff like that. So ways to help make them better people.
Yeah, that's good. And like sometimes, you read or watch different things that like don't necessarily relate to you, but somebody else and you're just like, oh, okay, like, and you can kind of apply it, and that's always cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. How about you?
It's a tough one, just because there's, different people like we had talked about, like speakers or, people that are famous or well known. But then, there's so many different people, in my life even that have just, I don't know. I'd have to say my grandpa, my maternal grandpa would probably be up there for people who inspired me. And he, like, he was just an interesting person all around. And like, he worked hard and, but he also like knew how to have fun. And like, he always, instilled different values in me and, made me pay attention to certain things like that I didn't before, like, what goes on in the world and, how important it is. And I don't know, just different things he'd say, even like, Napoleon Hill type quotes. And it's just, I don't know, like, and I saw just based on the stories he told me and like, where he came from and not having a lot of money and working his way up to being an engineer. I mean, that doesn't happen overnight. And I knew, just from hearing his story that I could become anything I wanted to if I worked hard for it. And, he kind of planted that seed in me to where I thought I could do things and believed in myself. So he's definitely was a big inspiration to me. And I think the other one would be my husband Mike, just because he's he's like normally just like kind of quiet, keeps to himself and whatever, but like he has this humor and like he's very, logical and very like he knows different things. Like he can think on his feet and it's just awesome. And how he thinks of other people and in just small ways, or like someone's having a bad day and he, brings them their favorite drink or just small things like that. And like he's always thinking of someone else or thinking of how something can work better if it's, even something small that's like, broken in the house or whatever. It's that brain that's always turning, and I don't know, he inspires me to like think outside the box and think differently, and I don't know, it's awesome.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Like, that's how Chad is for me. Um, Being with Chad makes me want to be a better person because um, most people kind of they don't take the time to really get to know Chad, and I get to see like a completely different side that everybody else, And Chad's the person who one day it was the middle of winter and we were downtown and there was a blind person trying to walk across the street, but the person who lived in the house on the corner hadn't shoveled their like that crosswalk sidewalk yet. And so, he happened to recognize like that they were walking and that sidewalk wasn't shoveled yet. So he stopped at the light, got out of the car, helped the person up over like the big huge snowbank. I mean, I try to be helpful, but I didn't even look. Like, I mean, I didn't even recognize that, the sidewalk wasn't even shoveled or whatever. And he saw it right away. And we had people honking behind us, because they wanted to go. And we were just like, you know, really, you're rushed to go get Starbucks or whatever you're rushing to at 7 in the morning is more important than helping someone safely get across the street. But um, so he does that stuff all the time, and so it always makes me want to be a better person. So I know we can always sit here and be like, oh well, this famous person and this famous person or whatever, but um, when I don't know how someone got to where they are, it's really hard for me to put them on a pedestal because um, there are some people who are born into families that do make it super easy and whatever. My mom is actually an inspiration to me too. So, um, she came, she had an arranged marriage when she was 14 and came over here super young. And she didn't know English or anything like that. And she taught herself English by getting a Greek English dictionary, and she's taught herself. And she's worked very hard all through life. Like, she was the person who worked at a job for 20 years and never missed a day, like, and so it's just nice, like looking at people that you actually know and see and can recognize the hard work that they've done and the, things that they've gotten through. Cause, life isn't easy for anybody. I mean, you can look at someone and be like, oh, I wish I was them because their life is so easy, but you have no idea what they've been through. So, yeah. Anyway, those are my top, I guess, influencers.
Well, yeah, it's crazy, and I agree with that. Like how you said, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, or how someone got to their success, and that could be burning bridges or doing the wrong things or acting shady or whatever. And
Exactly.
that's not somebody you want to praise and put up here. Like you want to support people that like worked hard, that got through things, that grew through what they were going through, and those are the kind of people that set the example for everybody else.
Right. So, since you brought up success, what would you say? Like, how will you know when you consider yourself successful in life? What is your marker to know that like you made it?
I think it's just, I don't know how to put that like into words. Like no amount of money, like whatever, make me think like, oh, this is what success is. Like or having $1 million, like because money comes and goes, and it just as quick you can lose it. So I don't know, like money's not like the biggest priority for me, but I think I know I was successful when my values and what I'm doing and everything else all align, and I'm doing it to for a bigger reason, I guess, is like, so whether that's somebody I really touched with something I said, or that something I shared, helped somebody who is going through something similar. And I think it's not so much something that like I can receive that, would make me feel, but just seeing if what I'm doing, I guess, is having an impact and a positive impact on people.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't care where I live or what I live in or the amount of money in our bank account. Um, you can you can have a lot of money and be alone and hurtful and whatever, like, and that's not successful to me at all. So, um, as long as I know that I am staying true to like my right and wrong, and um, which I'm a rule follower, so my right and wrong is pretty like pretty clear. um, but like as long as I'm staying true to that, but definitely if I well being a mom, if I raise good kids that go out into the world and are good humans and treat others with respect and work really hard, and you know, I would love to make an impact on even just one person's life somehow. So I feel like we all have to do our part to make the world a better place. And so as long as I'm moving in that direction and doing something to help someone do the same thing, and maybe like I want people to teach that in their homes as well. So then I would know I'm successful. So
So I think another good question was, what does growth mean to you, and have you grown ahead in your own life?
yeah, so I've been thinking about this actually a lot. Um, so I definitely have grown. Growth to me is not avoiding doing things that you're afraid of failing at, but actually taking those things head on, knowing full well that you're most likely going to fail. And every single time you fail at them, because you're probably going to fail more than once, taking a step back, looking at the situation, whatever it is that you're doing, and seeing one thing that you can change and then try it again. And you might have to keep changing a few things. But failure to me is the biggest stepping stone to success. And so, not being afraid of that. I think people look at failure as such a negative thing, and it really is not. And that is really important to me. Being able to like dust yourself off and not take it in a way where it's like detrimental. Like, again, I just, closed the business, but like to me, I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to do differently? Because I'm not done. Like this isn't the end for me. Like just closing it is just a stepping stone in, the next direction of, being a business owner. So um, I just know that changes need to be made, and we're going to make some changes and tweak some things, and give it a go. So that to me is growth. And it's not just in business; it's in everything you do in life. Whether it's how you communicate with your spouse, or your friends, or family, or the effort you put into those relationships, or whatever it is. I think you're going to have like an argument with somebody is technically a failure, and then you can take a step back and be like, okay, where did I go wrong? What can I tweak for the next time? Whatever. And I think just using that all the time in everything that you do is super important. So that's what it means to me.
I think growth to me is also just learning that some people are going to come and go in your life, and you're if you are growing, you're changing, and you're not going to be the same person you were at 10 years old or 20 years old, or you know, and I would, hope that you wouldn't be, because, then that just means you're experiencing so much in life and taking something from it. So, and I think it's just forgiving yourself too for things you didn't know, or things you might have messed up on in life, or felt like, maybe that wasn't the right decision. And, forgiving yourself. And as long as you're not, continuing to do those things and continuing to drag all the negative or bad stuff with you going forward, I think that's like huge, because we can look all day and go back in our life and go, well, I wish I didn't do this, or wow, I feel bad that I did this. But until you, forgive yourself for who you used to be versus, who you are now and what you know now, I think that's a huge step in growth, is knowing that, you're never going to, be the same person you were at birth till the day you die. Like, you're always changing, and that's okay.
Absolutely. And like you said, if you forgive yourself for messing up, or making a bad choice or whatever, the ability to, one, like, it is important to know that you as a person, all of us, we're part of the problem. So no matter what the problem is, we're part of it. Like, all problems don't just happen to us. Like, they happen based off of choices we make as well. And so being able to admit that is really hard for a lot of people. Like, you don't have to be right at everything, and you don't have to pretend like you know everything. Like, we're all learning, every day. Doesn't matter how old you are, you're still learning. And so being able to admit that is a huge step in the right direction. And then, as long as you can admit it, forgive yourself, and then do something different, like, because you can't, we'll use cheating. You can't be like, I'm so sorry I cheated on you, and then do it again.
Right.
Like, you're not growing. So, it's like, um, so many people have the ability to grow and change, whatever. It's difficult to do that because, um, one, you have to accept part of the blame, like, and part of the responsibility. You have to take ownership of that. And it is really sad on how hard that is for people to be accountable today. I don't know why, like, there's so much blame and placed on other people, and finger pointing and whatever. Like, um, I definitely think everyone needs to take a step back and realize that all equations have multiple parts of it, and you're part of it. So yeah, so I think it's fantastic, and that's why I love doing what we do, because I'm hoping that we're helping people, like, stop and think about their role in everything that happens in their life, and to learn the word accountability.
And I think, there's an equal or opposite reaction to everything. And just because, you see something this way, or this is how you want someone to see it, doesn't always work out that way either. And that's part of growth too, is learning that you're going to meet people that like don't share anything in common with you, maybe, don't like you or don't whatever, and that's okay. Like, but, finding common ground, being respectful towards one another, and, you know if you have to part ways, or you can't deal with the person, whatever, at least just do it, civilly, just. But that's part of growth, is just, you can't avoid people, and you can't, be abrasive either. Like, you just gotta, okay, that person I don't jive with. Okay, so we'll just, mind our peace over here. But, there's no reason to be hateful, and there's no reason to be afraid or avoid people either. Growth is coming across things that are uncomfortable and doing things that we're not used to, and that's okay. And, that's going to push us in another direction and lead us somewhere even better. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so, how would you say your perspective has changed over time? Like, since you were in high school, like, just your perspective of the world itself, like, you know.
I think at a young age, I was very, I don't want to say like angry, but like, I don't know, I was very aware of different things. And I don't think uh, people realize like how much I, obtained in different things. And um, I did like feel like I played not the victim, but just felt like that had that poor me kind of mentality. And for sure, there was things in my life that like other people I knew, weren't going through or that were difficult. And, I'm not saying that those weren't hard or anything like that, but I feel like having that mentality of like, why is this happening? And this is happening to me, or, why is this way? Instead of like looking at it that way, I think, switching gears into, around when I had the kidney stuff and getting out of high school and stuff is when I started to see everything kind of start to shift. Like I took accountability and responsibility for the different things that I did and said. And even looking back at like when I had the eating disorder and everything else that I look back and I just think, does this play a role in how my health is or was, in the past? Like, did I do this to myself? Like, and having to forgive myself for, doing that to myself and, being okay with the person that I am. And even just, things that you don't even think about that, like you're like, wow, that's how this person took that, or wow, I, didn't know I came off that way. And just reflecting back on even past things and seeing that, you know, I came from a time, where it was just like a negative space of, toxic people around me, different things. And I think that influenced, why I felt the way I did too. And I noticed when I started hanging out with people that had, you know, similar interests or things that were good for you versus like people who are all about themselves, or just somebody who said hi to me or whatever. Like everything's a choice, and I think that's where everything started to make sense for me. Is I have more control than I realize I do. And I could sit here all day and say my life sucks because XYZ, but like that's not going to get me anywhere. And I think it was just putting in the action, deciding to make some kind of change in my life that really just it changed my mindset. It changed like everything, and it was scary, but it helped me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I made a post the other day. I think I even put it on our Grow Ahead Facebook page saying that there are three different types of friends. There's ones that come in for a reason, into your life for a reason, ones who come in for a season, and then friends who are there for a lifetime. And I think that as soon as people can understand that, it makes it so much easier, because I think we get caught up in feeling like we need to keep every single person that crosses our path in our life forever. And that's just not, that's not realistic necessarily. So because if you're growing, you're not always growing on the same path, like in the same direction and whatever. And even though you can still be friendly, there's a difference between being friendly and kind to people, along the way and forever. But truly being friends with someone is very, very different, because, like, to me, in order to be like a real friend of mine, I have to be able to trust you with like my family, my myself, like, whatever. But um Chad always asks a question of how to judge people is who do I want to have a beer with? Who do I want to let watch my dog? And who am I willing to do both with? And when you think of it like that, it's really funny because, like, you start to think like, oh, well, you know, I wouldn't want to do both with that person, or like, whatever. But um I just think, like, if you're growing, and a good way to judge if you're growing is if you don't have every single person in your life, from the time you were born. Like, you might have some that you still talk to and whatever, but not every single one of them, because not everyone's moving at the same pace, on the same path, in the same direction, and whatever. And so I think that's a really good way to tell, if you are actually, growing through life instead of just going through it.
I think the other question that I thought was interesting was, and we talked a little bit about it, but not too in depth, but why did we start the podcast, and what does the podcast mean to us?
Ooh, okay. So I was blessed that you contacted me out of the blue asking me if I wanted to do this with you. So I have wanted to do a podcast for many, many years. Uh, Technically, it started for me as wanting to teach a class, like before I even knew what a podcast was, or maybe even before they existed. I don't know. But I wanted to teach a class on, like, just life in general, but where it would also include things along the lines of, parenting, or being a good person, or having, morals. And I just feel like there's a lot of that it, we're kind of brushing past in life these days. Like, I think it's really, really, really important to have a set of, like, personal rules, let's say, that you live by, in order to make sure that you are being a good person, and you are doing, the right thing. It's not always about, like, following the law. It's about, like, you know like, we teach the boys to hold open the door for people when you're entering or exiting a building. Like, you might be there for a couple minutes because there might be people coming, but that's okay. Like, it's better for you to be kind than hurried, and that stuff is very important to me. So, just talking to you regularly, just, not on the podcast, but just in life in general, we have very, very similar, like, goals in mind on wanting to be helpful, and you know get people to understand that you can go through some horrific things in life, but it doesn't have to damage you to the point where, like, now you're a horrible person yourself. And if we can just get anyone to start looking at life in, no matter what situation they're going in, find the positive parts of it and carry that with them, then we are we're doing something to help shape the world, and that's really, really important to me. So, what made you decide to do this and to ask me? Like, like, what is important to you about all this?
I think it's part of the same thing that you had mentioned, just like I noticed it even on social media and different things, that like we had things in common, or where we wanted to go, or think ideas that we had. And I don't know, I think with growth, it's something that people do want to do, but I don't think there's necessarily like an easy way or a guide that's going to tell you like how to do that. And for me, just, coming from, where I did, and the mindset I had, and all these things, like I didn't know where to turn to, or who to ask for help, or, even what the first step was. And I didn't want that for people who were wanting to start something and make something of their life, or make a positive impact. Like I wanted people to be able to start somewhere, even if it was hearing something, you and I are sharing a story of our own, or, just how we've experienced something. And I think, growth is hard to measure, and everyone thinks it's just, just this line that goes up, and it's not. It's, it's very, up and down. And I think that's the other reason too, just to watch, us grow, and see that like nobody's perfect, and everybody's growing at their own pace. And becoming whoever they're going to be, and just being okay with that. And I think that you yourself like just have such a positive outlook, and you're always trying to be the bright one in a conversation or a group of people, and always trying to start something and talk about something that needs to be talked about, that's important, whether it's something that's happened to someone close to you, yourself, or just something you find interesting and want to help with. And I love that. And I think you just coming from being a mom and a business owner and all these different roles and hats, like I think you have like so much to share with people, just with what you've been through and who you are today. And I wouldn't change that for the world.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. Stop it. We don't need another episode of that happening. Oh, that was very sweet. Thank you. I seriously like um the last 2 weeks that we didn't get a chance to film, like I missed it. Like, it we've done, just a handful of episodes and already it is like etched into me. Like, I know that we are supposed to be doing this. And so um yeah, I cannot be more blessed that I'm doing it with you. This is fantastic. So, um, you bring out like my fun side, not my so much mom serious side all the time, which is really nice. So, so it's fantastic that we get to do this together. So hopefully, like I said, even if it's just one person, if we can change one life, even in the slightest. And you know, I'm not claiming to know the best way to grow or change or anything like that, but I definitely feel like people have a better time doing it when there's someone out there, one, trying to hold them accountable to do it, and two, supporting them through it. It's going to be messy. It's going to be hard. There are going to be some days where you're just like, fuck it, I don't want to do it. That's okay. As long as you get right back on it, tomorrow. And, just because you take today off and, maybe stay in your PJs on the couch all day and eat ice cream, that's fine. But tomorrow, make sure that just because you took today off, it's not all of a sudden a pattern. And I think people need to hear that. Like, um, I think it's really, really, really important for us to get the word out that human life in general is just valuable. And as a mom and whatever, I feel like I see more and more of the value of human life being less appreciated or viewed as valuable. I don't know the best way to say it. Like, um I feel like there are so many people out there that just are all about them and don't take into consideration every other human in the planet. Like, and that's not okay. Like, you're not always going to see eye to eye with everyone. You're not going to like everybody. You're not going to be friends with everybody. Like, all of that is silly to even think. But you can still be kind to everybody. Like, whether you like them or not, or whether you understand them or not, it doesn't, none of that matters. But what does matter is that you're kind, and you don't have to say anything. You don't have to whatever. You just can't be hurtful, whether it's physically or verbally or anything. Like, Simon Sinek said, he tells a story about him and a buddy. I want to say they were running in something, they're running a marathon, whatever. I don't know. They were doing something, and there were bagels at the end of it. And the line to get to the bagels was really long, and they had to like get going. And he talks about how they just reached through and grabbed two like bagels or whatever and left. And he was saying, like, you have the ability to get what you want. They wanted bagels, but you can't stop other people from getting what they want. And so he was like, we just reached in blindly and took two bagels. He's like, we didn't get to choose what kind of bagels we got. We didn't get to, whatever. He's like, we still got bagels, but we didn't interrupt anybody else from, getting. And that is a huge, huge lesson. Like, just because you want something doesn't mean you can't go after it, but you definitely can't disrupt somebody else from going after what they want. And that is humongous. And I wish everyone would stop and go listen to Simon Sinek as soon as they're done watching our show and just listen to that full story. Because if you can just hear it from him, he tells it so great. I mean, obviously he was there, but just listen to that and apply it to life in general, and just know that like you don't have to be an ass to get what you want in life, but you definitely can go after it. And so anyway, I think it's just important to keep that value of humans, other humans going, whether you like them personally or not. It doesn't matter.
Well, and that's funny that you bring that up, just because I think I have seen people that have been like that, like, oh, I want to get what I want, so let's like, talk badly about this person, so they vote for me, or, this person, this, so, I'm gonna just trump all over it because, it's about me. And that's, not the honest way to grow or get ahead or anything. Like, you're not really learning anything from that other than like how to be a worse person. Like, it just,
Yeah, being manipulative is not something you should strive to be.
right. And it's like talking badly about people, or, trying to harm something someone's doing. Like, that's not, how you're going to get ahead. It's, putting in the work, thinking, outside the box, or, talking to somebody about an idea or something you have. Like, there's so many ways to go about it. And like, when you're doing it and it's only benefiting you, that doesn't help you, and it's not helping anyone else. So,
Exactly. The other thing is that one thing I will never understand is the bad mouthing other people, um, whether it's to get something you want or whatever, like, or because you don't like. If you don't like them, just stop talking to them.
right.
Like, okay, I don't understand the that whole like petty, whatever behavior, just because like if you want nothing to do with someone, then choose to not have anything to do with them. Like, I feel like more people talk crap about other people just to make themselves feel better about themselves. Well, if you're doing that, you have some personal work that you need to do, because you're the one like that clearly has more growth that needs to happen, than the person that you're probably trashing. So, um, there's a reason why you're doing it. So, and it's not necessarily because of what that person has said or done or whatever. It's probably something more personal. So, you should probably look in the mirror at that point. But I don't understand that at all. So, I definitely think that people need to start learning the value of other people, you know.
And I think another reason, why I wanted to start this podcast with you was just because I wanted to show people that like things are possible, and you don't have to see a sponsored ad on like Instagram or Facebook of somebody's Photoshop picture trying to tell you, you know what I mean, something that looks unattainable. Like, I wanted people to see the real us, like, like we're not perfect, and we're trying to grow and be better people every day. And yeah, like, we swear, we do whatever, like, I mean, this is just who we are.
Exactly. Like maybe someday I'll have a studio and not just moving boxes in my background, but whatever. We'll get there.
Like,
So,
everything's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. And I want people to see that it's not just like, I somebody who has money and is can show you like this perfectly decorated studio, and doesn't have maybe the experiences we have or whatever. Like, I just wanted everyone to know, like, this is us, this is real, this is our own growth, and what we've gone through, the stories we have. And some you might be able to relate to, some you might not, and it's okay.
Exactly. And yeah, if you are out there and you have a vision of what you want out of life, a dream, whatever you want to call it, just go for it. You don't, if anyone can learn, okay, so if I could give advice to anybody, you don't need to know everything about whatever your dream is to start today. Just start today. You can learn whatever it is that you need to be doing. Like, so many people are like, someday I want to whatever, but first I have to learn all this stuff. You don't have to learn it all to take the step and the plunge towards doing it. Especially this day and age, you have Google at your fingertips, for crying out loud. If you, whatever, if you want to start something and you have a basic knowledge of it and whatever, anything else you can Google it and learn it on the fly. Like, stop waiting, stop being the someday person. Like, if you're like that, someday is never going to come. I can tell you that a million times over. Someday will never come if you're constantly putting it off until tomorrow. So just start today. Like, start in your basement, whatever. Those moon pie, I think I saw them in the store. They've been around forever, like I think since the 80s, maybe even the 70s. I don't know. She started them right in her kitchen. Like, just start, just do it. Whatever, you can learn on the fly. So stop being a someday person.
And I like that you brought that up just because, yeah, I do think people think like you need a lot of money to do something, or you need to have a degree, or you don't. Like anything you could, do. And like I always tell people, like, if you want to start something, start with like every free resource there is out there for it, books, YouTube, Google, like whatever you can use that's like free, like even if you don't have money, like, and see how much you learn just from that.
Exactly. The things that are the most important out of anything that you're doing is consistency and hard work. Like, if you can be consistent and you can do something, like, even if you do two things or one thing every single day towards, whatever it is, we'll use our podcast, for example. Like today, we're just talking about fun stuff and whatever. But when we have a topic or whatever, I don't I research and read about whatever it is that we're going to talk about so that I don't just have my opinion on it. Like, I want other people's opinions. I want, to know some of the things that come up when people are talking about it and whatever. Um, if you're doing one thing every day towards whatever it is that you're working on, you're going to be way better at it. So you don't need to know it all. Right this second, but you definitely need to start right this second. So go do it. Get off your couch, go start whatever business that you're thinking in your head.
That's a good point though too, because like you, even if you watch Shark Tank, like some of the things you can come up with are, they're just, useful things, like how much money you can make, or how, successful you can be in something, just an idea.
And those kinds of things are always like I wish I had money to invest in people like that, because like, just some of the ideas that they come up with are just amazing to me. And so maybe now I'm going to be a maybe someday person. Maybe someday our podcast will be successful enough where we can invest in those new beginner people and help them out.
I'm here for it.
We could be like our own little Shark Tank Junior. We could be a goldfish tank.
Oh, that's funny.
So, are there any other questions on your list that people actually were asking?
Um, I don't think there's any more that I have, unless you do.
Okay, so just for fun, like, what was the last thing that you read? Like, book or
I'm still I'm still like reading it, but um I don't know who the author is because I don't have it on me right now, but the book is called Unfuck Yourself. And
nice.
I know the names. Some people are like, what?
We
But
all
it's
need a little bit of that in life.
it's just a book about how we think and like how to stop like overthinking or putting like just bad thoughts in our head or psyching ourselves out or and just doing it and training your brain to be like, okay, like this is it, like I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna go to this place or and just changing your mindset to believing anything's possible.
That is fantastic. So I'm just starting it, but um, a friend of mine from the essential oils stuff that I do uh, had a thing out online one day asking if anyone has read Awaken Alive to Truth by John L. Cooper. And if you don't know who John L. Cooper is, he is the lead singer of Skillet, and I love Skillet. So she was talking about how amazing the book is, and so she was like, if anyone wants a copy. So I reached out to her, and so I got my copy of Awaken Alive to Truth, and so I'm home, not I'm not alone, but um, Chad's already not here, so uh, he's working on finding us our new home in our new town. So um, I have plenty of time to read because I don't really watch a lot of TV. So I'm going to be starting that. So I'm super excited. But I did just get done reading another Nicholas Sparks book because, who doesn't love mushy romance novels that I've read every single one of his books. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to starting Awaken Alive to Truth, that for sure. Let's see, what other fun questions are there? Things that people might want to know about us. Ooh, do you have a celebrity crush?
Yes, but no. Like it's more, it's not even so much like how these people look. It's more just like how they are as people or kind of like what I've seen and like different life stories and whatever. But it's like a tie between Keanu Reeves and Jason Momoa.
Ooh, nice. Those
Because
are
Jason
both soft on the
Momoa
eyes.
because Jason Momoa though, like I know everyone's like, well, that's because of his looks or whatever, but like he's just like a humble person. And even just recently, like I was reading an article about how he, after Game of Thrones was over with and whatever, he like went broke, like, and him and his family were starving and stuff, and how he built his way back up in, doing movies and getting himself back out there. And like, I don't know, like there's a lot of celebrities that, don't relate to that. And with Keanu Reeves, it was just his sister had cancer and like yeah, he helped her when, she was going through that and she passed away, and he started donating all this money to different charities and different things. And he lives like such a humble life. Like he doesn't really spend money and he doesn't care about like monetary value and stuff like that. And I think that's cool.
I agree. So my celebrity crush, well, he's adorable, but that's besides the point. But it's The Rock, and um, I like seriously. Everyone's always like, "Oh, if I could just get one, or have one freebie or whatever." All I want is for him to smile at me and play the ukulele while he's singing. Like that is all, and it would be a great day. Um, he again, it's a personality thing. So he's very, very sweet with his mother. And when his grandma was alive, he used to play the ukulele and sing to her. And it was the sweetest thing in the whole entire world. And so, yeah, like that's all I just want him to sing me a song while smiling and like playing his ukulele. That is it. So Rock, if you're watching Grow Ahead podcast, will you please send me a video of you singing just to me while playing your ukulele and smiling with your beautifully perfect teeth? That would be fantastic. So
Funny.
I'm just trying to think if there's any other fun questions that um I don't know. I don't know what else anyone would want to know.
Sure.
Um yeah. I honestly, except because of COVID and there's no sport. Well, sports are happening now, but my whole entire life typically is based around kids sporting events, and I miss that because I really enjoy watching our kids do stuff like and whatever. So and my dogs, I love my dogs. So but that's really about it. So I don't know. I'm pretty boring otherwise. I'm the person who's asleep on the couch usually by 9, and that's really pushing it.
Yeah. I like to spend like every day, if not doing something positive or whatever, then laughing, because like I feel like when you're laughing or having a good time, like you just I don't know, nothing else matters in that moment when you're just laughing and you're just even over the stupidest thing. It's just, I don't know, it just makes your day.
I agree. Laughing is the best medicine there is for anything. So, yeah, that is really all I have. I don't know. Um, I hope that you have enjoyed our little fun show for today. Next week, we'll be back into some heavy topics and making people not like us. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. So let's see here. Next week, I don't have it in front of me. Are we doing, um, nature versus nurture? Or are we doing, um, oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank?
Cancel culture.
Yes, thank you. Are we doing cancel culture next week?
I think so. I've
Sweet.
been researching a little bit on this. Yeah, I think this is something we definitely, yeah, should tackle.
Yeah, I have been seriously like when I got busy and whatever and we couldn't do that one, I was like, oh, because I I normally am not a feather ruffler, but it'll be fun to kind of get that out there. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one. Okay, so everyone, next week we will be tackling cancel culture and what we think of it. And if you watch this week and you have an opinion about cancel culture, shoot us an email or text us on our text line. Look, our numbers on Facebook. I should have that right in front of me so I can just read it off. It's on Facebook. You can send us messages. Put a little something in there if you want us to tackle something that you like, with your opinion on it, or if you have a question about how we feel or anything like that. And yeah, I look forward to um, diving in deep into some of those nice controversial conversations. So um, I definitely hope that um, people who watch, listen with an open mind, because again, not everyone's going to have the same opinion on everything, but we can, obviously talk about what we feel and how we think it affects things and go from there. So um, until then, have courage.
I don't know if we are saying it both or
I never know. So, all right. So until then,
have courage to grow through life.
and not just go through life.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.